It's actually one of my favorite stories because when people see a little bit about my background, they always wonder why I don't still have a Southern accent, which I did when I returned home, and what led me there. I'm Trina Gordon, and I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of Boyden World Corporation. We are a global retained executive search firm, headquarters in New York and 70 offices around the world. It was interesting. I grew up loving animals, in particular horses, and so I rode for a little bit as a young kid and decided that I wanted to become not just a veterinarian, but an equine veterinarian. And so my father and I took a visit to campus, and I fell in love. Loved the people, loved the atmosphere, the culture, the environment, the dynamics on campus. So I came to Auburn not knowing a single person there. It was quite a first adventure. I came in as a pre-veterinary major and spent some summers living out near the vet school. And as we got into a little bit of the pre-veterinary coursework, I began to recognize I didn't have the constitution to be the invasive side of veterinary medicine. So I switched over to political science and have always maintained my love for animals, but do it now on the personal side, not the professional side. I gravitated towards liberal arts because I've always been sort of an individual who loves to pick up and learn a good bit, and have enjoyed the opportunity to have those sort of diverse kinds of conversations with people. It sets people, at ease, and you can begin to understand a little bit about what their agenda is, what their needs and objectives are. So I think a liberal arts background where you can have that very diverse and strong, open foundation, and have that base of knowledge and experience, or at least that beginning foundation. Enjoy what you're doing, take the most of it. And if the first interest you have isn't what you think will be your lifelong pursuit, don't worry about it. Find out what it is, and get yourself settled. Learn all you can about the business you're interested in. Find a good mentor. Make sure that you are listening and learning before you decide to render large opinions. I think it's important to be a real student of your business and your clients or your product or your service in order to be able to project that kind of confidence and gain the experience you're seeking. So those were at least some of the lessons I started to learn. First of all, be yourself, because that's the most important thing you can do. Doing your homework is really important. I mean, it sounds like a very tried and true phrase, but there are a number, you'll be surprised how many people come into a first-time dialogue with a potential employer and haven't, done a little bit of background, whether it's a public or private company. There are lots of different ways that you can, well beyond a website, that you can get yourself a bit educated, and it goes a long way with a prospective employer to say that you've use a product or seen how a product moves off a shelf in a mass market store or in a specialty store, or you've attended a trade conference, or you've read the CEO strategy, or you've looked at a proxy statement. I mean, it doesn't. Those are opportunities you have to really differentiate yourself. I was in New York last week and standing next to a gentleman in an airline line to get onto the plane, and he had a luggage tag, and so I just simply said the universal phrase for hello around the world for Auburn University, and that's War Eagle. And so it strikes up friendships wherever you go. My husband would stand next to me anywhere, a farmer's market, going down the street, in a movie theater, and I'd say War Eagle, and he said, I still don't understand this. But it's our global word for hello. I am Trina Gordon, and this has been My Auburn Story, War Eagle.